welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make pot of gold cake pops. So what you're going to need is some dark green candy melts, and optionally I like to add a little bit of coconut oil to certain brands of candy melts. It just seems to help them melt more smoothly. And this is just a little jelly jar. I think I showed in another tutorial that's where I like to melt my candy melts and dip them. Then obviously you're going to need a cake pop. This is just a round circular shape, a popsicle stick, and then I'm using these little gold sprinkles. They're the little circular ones that I colored with edible gold. They were white. You can also use yellow or gold sanding sugar if you don't have these on hand. And then optional step, I've got a little bit of black fondant that I am going to use an extruder with just a very small round opening, and that's going to make like a little kind of a band to go around just under the lip of the pot. So super easy, you guys. All you've got to do is have your cake pop ready to go. It's just a circle, just a ball shape, your popsicle stick, and the melted thinned candy melts. So you want to make sure you don't overheat your candy melts. You don't want them to crystallize. So heat them gently in the microwave, and then you'll take the end of your popsicle stick and just dip it maybe about 3/4 of an inch or half an inch into the candy melt, and then you'll push this straight down into the cake pop ball. This is going to glue the cake pop to the stick, and I'm only pushing it about maybe 3/4 of the way through the cake pop, and then you're just going to let that cool to glue it on the stick. And that'll just take a couple minutes. And then once it's glued on there and dry, now you're ready to dip the cake pop. And so all you're going to do is just pick up with your non-dominant hand the jar of melted candy melts, and then I'm just dipping straight down into the jar, slightly twisting, slightly jiggling the stick just a little bit to get that candy melt coated evenly onto the cake pop. Now I am shaking off some of the excess, but you don't want to shake off all of the excess. This is really important because what you're going to do when you set it down on either your silicone mat or a parchment piece of parchment paper, the excess is going to just cause a little lip of the pot. So you'll see that here as it dries. So that's what's going to give you that look. So now it is all dry, and I'm gently pulling it off my silicone mat. As you can see, I was a little impatient and it wasn't totally dry, but it's going to be fine because we're actually going to coat that part with some more melted candy melts and attach those gold coins. So I'm not upset about that. I could have waited, but you know, I was a little impatient. So I've just got a clean brush, and I'm dipping it into the melted candy melts, and I'm just going to go over the top of that, and that is going to glue our edible gold coins onto the pot so that it's going to look like a pot of gold. So I'm just coating a pretty decent amount of the melted candy melts on there. And then as I mentioned before, you can use sanding sugar too. I just like these sprinkles, or whatever you'd call them, because they look like coins, but it definitely works with sanding sugar. And so I just started kind of pushing it down into the bowl, but as you can see, it didn't stick as nicely as I wanted it to. So it's fine. You just have to kind of fill in a little bit by hand. And if there's spots where there isn't, where there's kind of like a bare spot, you'll just take your brush, add a little more candy melt, put some more little gold coins or some more sanding sugar on there, and you are good to go. So this is what it looks like at this stage. You could stop here if you wanted, but I just think it's cute to add a little extra element. So I've got that black fondant into my extruder with the round opening. It's a small round opening. So I'm just going to squeeze out a length of the black fondant, and I didn't really measure. I just kind of eyeballed it and decided that would probably be a long enough strip to go around the edge of that lip. So I'm just dry fitting it first to make sure I cut it long enough, and it looks like I did. So super easy to attach it. I've still got my jar of melted candy melts, so all I'm gonna do is just hold this in my hand and take that brush again. Now I will make a note, I probably should have just grabbed a smaller brush. This one was a little bulky for this part of the job, but it was okay. So I'm just gently kind of brushing a tiny bit of melted candy melt under the lip of that pot, and then we'll just, while it's wet, don't wait too long, you'll just gently dab the black fondant on it, and then I'm just turning it in my hand, and then I'll go ahead and finish attaching the rest of that fondant band with the candy melts. So just a little bit here and there, and I think I ended up doing just a little bit of maybe a little trimming and pinching, because I wasn't real precise when I measured this, but I think it looks okay. So now that that black band is on, I always like to finish these off, just kind of filling in the bare spots again, but then the very last step that I'll show you, and you can see that some of my little coins are popping off. It's because I was being impatient. I was trying to just film this tutorial in between cake orders, so I apologize for that. But if you just use a smaller brush and kind of take your time a little bit, you'll get cleaner results. But honestly, it's such a quick and easy technique to make a really cute cake pop for St. Patrick's Day that I think you'll get quick at it, and you'll decide, what you like better. And then where I had that little spot where the band meets, where the edges of the band meet each other, I always like to make it look like the coins are kind of spilling out of the pot of gold. To me, that just looks very abundant. And so I just put a couple little dots of candy melt right on the edge where those bands meet. So it's a twofold thing. It's covering the seam, and it's also adding a cute little look to it. So I really like it. I like how it turned out. My cake pop was a little lumpy, so if you want more perfection, definitely roll it. But that's how you make a pot of gold cake pop. Enjoy, guys.